Alright, so I'm in the process of getting this whole place all cleaned up. I figured I'd clean myself up. And thanks to my barber Jay over at Self Barber Studio in Scottsdale, I'm looking a little better, almost as good as my garage. But more on the garage later. Bye. Well, there you go. See ya. Bye. Off to have Christmas with Grandma. And leave me here all alone. I've been asked a few times if I worry about my girls when they go out, and I don't. It's because we have this Life 360 app on our phones. It helps us create a family circle, and in that circle we can report and tell people where we've been when we check in to certain places and such. We can set popular places or destinations, things that will enable us to know when someone comes or goes through that, and we can see what they're doing or where they are pretty accurately live as they go along. You know what this reminds me of?
Blue Boy going very well, romping home in contention as they run towards the home turn. It's romping home, Blue Boy, the Colonel, Opera Knights making ground. They're well into the straight now of the Queen and the 4th Jubilee Stakes. It's romping home, Blue Boy, the Colonel, Opera Knights, well into the final furlong. These four have the race between them. It's romping home, Blue Boy, Colonel, Opera Knights, romping home, starting to make ground on the outside. It's romping home, striding towards the line. Romping home is going to win the Queen and the 4th Jubilee Stakes. It's romping home wins it. Second is a photo. 4th Opera Knights. The Flyer is 5th. Spring Meadows 6th. 7th was the Joker. The Playboy.
Well, as you can see, it's not 100% live. You know, if it was, all three of them would be in the same little section there. It is fun to watch, and it does give us a little peace of mind knowing where our girls are, and if they were ever in trouble, we could go to them quickly. It's a great little app, Life 360. You should check it out. I spent a lot of time last night, New Year's Eve, filming me building my workbench, my 36 by 72 inch workbench, or 3 foot by 6 foot workbench. Got this camera all set up, got this microphone my parents sent me for Christmas, put on it, and hooked it all up, did all the filming, did some great footage that you will see for, well, I don't know about great footage, but you know, we got some footage of me putting this workbench together. I loaded onto the computer and no audio. So I don't know if it's the microphone not compatible with the camera, or if the camera is not working as far as the internal microphone plug. So I don't know. Anyway, so you get a voiceover of some instruction on what I did to create this workbench. So if you like, you can go to biggsgarage.com. That's www.biggsgarage.com. biggsgarage.com. You can go there and go to this episodes section, or the show, and then you'll find this show, and in there will be a link that you can download a PDF of this drawing. And you'll see that in this drawing we've got some measurements of everything. You'll see that we have a cut list down here. We have some basic things that I've done, and just some general illustration of how and where I laid things. I'd love for you, if you like, to download this and create your version of it. And if you do, please share it with us by going to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Bigsy's Garage, and posting a picture of your version on our Facebook page. Share with everybody. When I started this project, I did the sides first. Once I did the sides, I then came in and added the front and the back. I call them stringers, just across. So they basically strung across and joined the two sides together. And this gave me pretty much just basically a box. Now, one thing to keep in mind too, if you look down here, let me zoom in for you. If you look down in this section where the caster is, down at the bottom, I've got a 2x4 behind this 72-inch piece of 2x4. And then I've got another 2x4, a 32-inch 2x4 that is this height. So the bottom of this each side has two 2x4s on each side. One, the purpose for that was to be able to be a place to set the plywood or whatever I use as the surface of this shelf onto, as well as the surface of this 72-inch 2x4. So as you can see, these dotted lines here basically indicate where there is a 2x4 behind it. So on the top, there's a 2x4 on the outside, on both sides, and then a 2x4 center, 36 inches on center, on the top, on the middle shelf, and the bottom shelf. Now the bottom has an outside 2x4 and an inside 2x4 on both sides, and then a center 2x4 to add strength. We're going to be working on engines and things like that. We don't want a nice little particle board, built-in cabinet bench that's going to get totally destroyed by putting heavy things on it. This bench, as you will see when we take you out to the garage to look at it, is solid. Now, with that said, you can use any kind of casters you want on this. I just indicated casters. I believe that any kind of workbench that you use in a garage or workshop, it's got to have casters on it, especially when they're big and heavy. You don't want them, where you're dragging them along. With these casters that I got from my favorite hardware store, they roll along really, really well, and are a dream to push this thing around with. Use whatever you want. I used 5-inch casters. That's 5-inch diameter of the wheel. It actually is about 6 inches, a little over 6 inches from the bottom of the wheel to the bearings and the plate. So it's going to make this about a 40-inch tabletop when I get the top on and everything like that. Well, the girls are asleep, so I don't have any camera people to help with filming this section, and I want to get this episode out so that you guys can see what we've been doing. It is kind of echoey because we're in a garage, the garage. As you can see, we've got Big Z's Garage logo on the wall. And let me flip this screen around so that I can show you what we've done so far. It may not look like a big change, but it is definitely getting there. There's the bike sitting right there. And in the back, you can see the framework of the bench that we've been talking about. There are some really cool things that we're going to do, but let's get some detail on what we've got here. So if you're looking down, you can see the structure that on the plans that I made. You've got the basically it makes up of 33-inch boards, 72-inch boards. So we've got 6 72-inch boards, and I think it's 11 of the 33, and then 4 4x4s. And these are the casters that I used. These are the locking ones on this side, because predominantly this is going to be the front. And then the back, you'll see over there, we've got swivel casters, but they're not locking. There's no way I could reach in the back. So I figured we'd just have the locking casters here on this side. And then, just show you how easy it is to move around. I mean, if I need it over here because I pulled the car out, we can do that. We can make room. When I'm done for the day and I need to put it back, it just can go back in its little cubby. Of course, we'll have all this stuff cleaned up. And there goes another good. All right, let's lock this. Lock that one. Lock that one. And I mean, that's what we have. So as you can recall, we're going to have another workbench along this wall, and basically from the power and the light switch down, it's going to be roughly the same height as, it's going to be the same height as the other workbench, this one here. But it's going to be 2 feet deep instead of 3, and it's going to be 8 foot long instead of 6. So another 2 feet long, but 2 feet deep. So the cost of this bench over here, the 8 foot by 2 foot bench, is going to be a lot less than the cost of this 3 foot by 6 foot. Primarily because of the sheet, the plywood that we use for the tops and for the shelves and things like that. Now if you think about it, a standard sheet of plywood is 4 foot by 8 foot here in the United States. So that's what you have to work with to cut from to make those tops and those shelf bottoms. When you got a 3 foot by 6 foot top, you have very limited leftover wastage that you can use, unless you don't care about having joins in your shelves or anything like that. I do. Things always get stuck in those joins, so I'm gonna do full sheets so that there will be no joins in any of this stuff. Now when I go do the 2 foot by 8 foot, well, 8 foot is the length of the sheet. It's 4 foot. I just rip that bad boy down the middle, and I've got 2 surfaces. So I've got my top and then panels for the shelves. Now because when we get into the next project, which is that workbench, you'll see that the top is 2 foot by 8 feet, but each of the shelves are 2 foot by 4 foot. So in one sheet of ply, I'm able to get 2 shelves and 1 top. So all I'm going to need are 2 sheets of plywood for that, even though it's longer. This, I'm going to need a sheet of plywood for the top. I'm going to need a sheet of plywood for the bottom shelf and one for the shelf just below the top here. So it's gonna, there's 3 sheets of ply right there. That's if I use plywood. I'm playing with the idea of using some other type of materials. We'll see how that goes cost-wise, and I'll report back to you on the cost of the different materials that I considered in doing this. I did do a bench back when I lived in Texas, very similar to this bench. I used to own a vehicle wrap business, a large format printing business, so I needed a large surface. And I happened to have a whole bunch of old stringers, which were used in and these were basically, if you go to some of these big box hardware stores, you'll see, you know, how they're kind of like warehouse style. You'll see these stringers that go across on the shelves. They're typically 2x4, or sorry, 2x6s, or 2x8s. Well, I happen to have a whole bunch of 2x6 stringers from a business that had gone out of business, and they were just starting to throw these things away. So I use those for my top. I just basically, this surface right here, I made it go up so that there was a cleat, if you will, that was 1.5 inches down, because a 2-inch side of a 2x whatever is only 1.5 inches. So we dropped that down, and then those lined the top, made for a very sturdy subsurface for a tabletop. Then I just put a protective layer over the top, not so much to protect all those boards, but to protect the product that I was producing. And when that wore out, I just replaced it with another one. So I got this power strip, and it's got a 6-foot cord. Let's take a look at it in a little more detail. Let's unbox it and see what else we have. All right, so without a camera person, this makes it a little bit challenging. I don't know how some of these other YouTubers do it without. So if they can do it, though, I'm sure need to learn how to do it, because sometimes kids are in school and off to college and they can't help. But anyway, so this is a Legrand plug mold tough. It has 10 outlets and a 6-foot cord. They say a heavy duty aluminum plate. Board. Nothing else? No stroke? What's this? Aha! Okay. Oops. Dropping stuff all over the place. Let's go ahead and toss this over there without knocking over anything. Alright. So as you can see, we've got the diamond plate. Got the 6-foot cord. This would be ideal, something like this would be ideal right above the, or right below here, the sign on the new workbench that we're going to make after this one. Just because it's right there by the plug. 6 foot isn't going to reach that plug from you know, where this bench is. And it looks like what we have here, the screws fell to the floor, but we have these little mounting brackets like this. So we can just mount that to the wall or whatever surface we want. Again, because I'm renting, I may have to just put this on top of the bench top. I don't know if I do that, or maybe even just on the inside of the one of the shelves. Anyways, we'll figure out where we're going to put it, and there may be a good excuse or reason for doing it. But it looks like, because of the way that is set up, let's just test fit this, that it just slides in here. Just have to be smarter than it, right? Yeah. So it just slides right on there, so that you're able to hold that board up against the wall or wherever it is that you're mounting it. And let's see if we can take that bad boy off, because I need to, there we go. And it came with all the hardware that you needed or need to do it. If I'm doing it to the drywall, I'm going to use different screws. I have these really cool screws that I like using when I have to mount something to drywall, because, let me see if I can find those screws that I like to use. So these are the screws that I like to use when I am screwing things to drywall. I don't know if this thing can autofocus on that, but that, look at those teeth in that screw. They're wide. This is the screw that came with it. Okay, so typical wood screw. All right, I'm sure it would go right into the drywall really well, but this goes in without really making a huge hole. Sounds weird, but these cut into the soft chalk substance, that the gyprock that's in the wall, and that way it doesn't destroy it so much, but it also gets a bigger bite out of it. These are really close together, so it has a better chance of pulling out of the drywall. So that's what I'm probably going to use if I put this board up on the wall. But we'll find out where we do it in our next episode, and see how this works out. So there you have it. That's our first product review. Keep in mind, we are not sponsored by anybody. I mentioned Life 360 earlier on. It's just an app that we use. It's not something that Life 360 came. We've been using it for almost 4 years now, and it's something that we have fun with as a family. My wife knows when I'm on my way home. She doesn't have to call and bother me for little things like that. If she sees I'm driving by the store, not that she sits there and watches where I am all the time, and I very rarely get on there to see where my wife is. Typically it's being notified when my daughters make it to school, when they sneak out of school, which has never happened. Or if we're just concerned and we don't know where they are, we can at least find where their phone is. And you know, girls, at least my girls, are never far from their phones. So, but we're not sponsored by Life 360. They're not paying us to say anything about it. It's just a product we use. Same thing with this particular product that we're showing you right now. It's a product I purchased. Why not? I got a few other tools and things like that I'll be reviewing and giving my thoughts and opinions on them. But we were never paid or sponsored by anybody. Another reason why I say my favorite hardware store even though I tried to get an affiliate program with them and they denied me, they're still my favorite hardware store, but I will not mention who they are because I'm sure you have one, whether it's a big box chain or a more personable mom and pop shop or locally owned franchise. Wherever you get your stuff, that's great. You build a relationship with those people, and that's how it should be. It's all about your networking. So until we are picked up by somebody who's willing to help us make a living out of this show, can only hope, we're not sponsored. Everything that we review, we pay for ourselves. And I think that makes it nice because you know you're getting an honest opinion. I'm not feeling like I have to say something good if someone has sent me a product that's a piece of garbage. So anyway, that's it for now. We do have a few other things Beatrice wants to go over with us. That's our sticker board. We've done it twice already. One time, well, both times, no audio. So this time we're going to do it. Stickers are already on the board. All right, well, before we go for this second episode, we wanted to do some shout outs for those people who've provided us with some stickers. And starting at the top, who provided us that sticker up there, the American flag?
Your brother.
My brother, your uncle, Steve, in Utah, provided that sticker for us. Then we have these two stickers here. Who's that from?
Soft Spot.
Soft Spot. Soft Spot is a client of mine, and they have developed or are in the process of developing an app for people who have cats and dogs so that they can call on veterinarian services to come to their home and help take care of their animals. I've been told that I can offer our viewers, anybody who has cats and dogs, the opportunity to go to softspotapp.com. So that's softspotapp.com and sign up to be a beta tester for their new app. It's a great opportunity to be able to help out and to take care of your animals at the same time. And then who else do we have here, Beatrice?
Self Barber Studio.
Self Barber Studio. Jay is the owner of Self Barber Studio. He's my barber, guy that tries to tame this wild beast as well as this. It's time for me to go in for another haircut and beard trim, but nonetheless, if you're ever in Scottsdale, Arizona, stop by. Address and everything will be below in the description, and tell Jay that I sent you, and he'd be happy to take care of you. And then we've got Las Vegas, John. When I was last saw John, we were missionary companions together in Melbourne, Australia for our church, and it's good to have him watching. He sent us the Las Vegas Up All Night sticker, and in his letter he informed me that he works nights, so it's very relevant for him. Thank you for sending those stickers in. Keep the stickers coming. If you include a self-addressed envelope, well, forget the envelope. Just give us your address and we will send you one of our stickers. It'll either be a sticker looking like this, or it may be die-cut vinyl of my avatar. That's what we call it, right? Avatar on Facebook. So keep those stickers coming in, and until our next episode, subscribe, like, and share. What's so funny? Nothing? Okay. Shelby, our camera person, is making Beatrice laugh. And let's do this over again without Shelby making faces at you.
Okay.
And stop rubbing your face and stuff, B.
Yeah, you're on camera and you're going.
I didn't pick my nose.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry.
sit back. You're gonna do some more talking too. Why do I have to do all the talking?
Because I don't have
Okay, stop.
I'm
Over
just
here.
a person. I feel like I'm in the way of the sticker board.
Okay, alright, you can stand back, maybe point to what I'm talking about. I'll stand next to it. Alright, stop. Stop. Chill. Okay, you ready?
No.
Okay, everybody done coughing? Clear your throat. Okay, you're all clear? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do this again. For that particular project, because we'll have lumber left over that we got with this project. Wow, I've been hanging on to that one. Let's do